and I was loving it. But things changed for us when we hit a turnover of around 650k. For some reason, we just completely stopped growing. I was selling what I could, but the business flatlined for a few years. We didn't have the right processes or people in place to take on much more work, so psychologically we were holding back. This started to become a problem once I had kids and needed a bigger home. I needed to earn more money, significantly more, but the business was no longer meeting my needs. I started to grow resentful of it. My business partner and best friend was quite happy with how things were, and I can understand why. It wasn't stressful, and we were earning enough to meet his needs. He had no reason to want to grow. But for me, with a growing family and an inbuilt drive to make this business a huge success, I was growing frustrated. As the years slowly ticked on, with growth going nowhere, things came to a head. We were now both spending more than the profits the business could realistically generate, and we were slowly but surely driving it into the ground. I made the difficult decision to split from my business partner. I can't stress enough how emotionally challenging this was, as we were, and still are, extremely close, so it felt like a betrayal in many ways. This is one of the reasons it took me so long to make the decision when I should have done it years earlier. I knew we couldn't continue on as we were, and we had both started to move in different directions. I wanted to make the business much bigger. He, understandably, didn't want the unnecessary pressure. So in 2013, we split. I bought my partner out of the company and was then free to take it in any direction I wanted. I was now financially committed to making things happen, as I'd had to take out a large loan to cover the buyout. It was a risk, as we had run the company into a bit of debt, but I was convinced I could turn it around, cover the loan payments, and make the business profitable again. I remember feeling excited, but also found it daunting that the failure or success of the business was now all down to me. At this point, I'd already consumed a lot of books on how to grow a business, and it was time to start putting the things I'd learned into action. One by one, I slowly implemented strategies and started to see changes. Sales were increasing without spending any more on marketing, and my profit margins were growing. The first year after the split, I'd managed to turn over nearly 700k, which wasn't bad considering I was on my own and things were only just starting to settle. I must admit, though, I was working extremely hard and putting in long hours, but I was building a valuable foundation that would set me up well going forward. The next financial year, things really started moving. I was now being viewed as a bigger company and started pitching for larger contracts. The contacts I had nurtured over the years had also grown and were taking on bigger projects, and I was now their preferred supplier. I needed to take on more admin staff to cope with the workload, so I converted my garage into an office and we all crammed in there. Looking back now, it must have been an awful working environment compared to the offices I now have, but at the time, it was exciting. New contracts were being won, and our turnover was increasing month on month. Very suddenly, I started to see the fruits of my labour, and that financial year I hit 1.2 million in sales. We had increased revenue by 70% in just 1 year. This was a huge jump in both turnover and profits. All the effort I'd put into laying a good foundation the previous year had now paid dividends. I couldn't believe how easy it had been to smash through the £1 million mark once I'd put the right systems in place. And once I'd sailed past £1 million in revenue, I had further funds to invest in building a great team around me. This then gave me more freedom and money to take holidays and enjoy some stress-free time with my family. Having a great team was key to growing even further, and once we had passed the £1 million barrier, it was easy to get to 2 million, then 3 million and beyond in the years that followed. Our growth was staggering, and that brought a whole host of new problems that I had to learn to deal with and overcome. I'd grown to a large company quite quickly, and it seemed I was taking on new staff every few months. Unfortunately, some of my hires were awful. I had a member of staff steal money from me, and one even stole a lucrative contract worth hundreds of thousands of pounds for himself.